Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Rattlehead. Today is Saturday, June 29th, 2024. And this is not a happy video. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. And also is really bugging me because, you know, you look back at things and you wish you did things differently and all that stuff. But today, this is not about what I could have done or whatever. But I just wanted to basically kind of express what happened. So I woke up this morning, the usual on a Saturday, um, and I checked social media, Twitter, log in, and the first thing that pops up in my mind it's uh, a tweet from Brandon Cole. Now his tweets are very always excited about new things in the gaming industry, always like cool stuff, right? Or a time when he's gonna stream and all that. But today was different, and that's actually pretty big because he is actually no longer with us. Um, Basically, it was noted in there that he passed away, and he was dealing with very complicated health issues, and he came to my stream one last time a few weeks ago, almost a month ago. And I think what's really affecting me too is because we work with him on the Mortal Kombat accessibility. For those who may not know, Brandon Cole was a major accessibility consultant in the industry since around 2014 or 15 onwards, along with Ross Minor, Steve Saylor, some of those big names out there, Ian Hamilton. And Brandon was always was always excited about like making things accessible for everybody. And I don't know. I'm here. I don't even know what to say because at the same time, there's so much I want to say, but I don't know how. I'm not much of expressing feelings, but right now, this is just like, I think it's just because, again, we finally met in person last year. And so just so you kind of guys know a little bit too, obviously, he's well known in the industry and everything. Funny enough, after all the when things happened in 2013 with blind players being a little more recognized just in the gaming space in general, we used to hang out in parties actually way back, and we used to play MK, mainly MK actually, even with Ross. I don't know if Ross remembers that, but I do remember because because back then I was very, very terrible at socializing. You know, I grew up mostly by myself a lot of times. Yeah, I had friends and stuff, but I was terrible at keeping contact, establishing relationships, networking, all that stuff. You don't realize it until it's like it already happened and you learn life when life teaches you lessons, and everything. So of course everybody kind of parted their ways, did their own thing, which is awesome, right? They kept it going. They Ross becoming one of the big names, just in the accessibility period, and Brandon being in specifically in the gaming community. And of course everybody knows his biggest work, The Last of Us Part 2, of course with the other consultants, and then most recently with Forza, Hearthstone, a lot of projects. And for some of us, we just kind of made it into the scene in the accessibility field, and he was very influential actually, in terms of like how to contact people, how to network, all that stuff. That's something that some of us had to learn later on, unfortunately, like myself. Like I said, we used to hang out and everything. Everybody kind of went their separate ways just because, um, you know, part of it my fault as well, because again, I was really terrible at socializing. You can even look at my old videos and how different I used to come off as. It was a different vibe. I don't know how to explain it, but this is heavy. This is a heavy loss. It feels strange because you really have to stop and think about how fragile life can be. I mean, we were kind of in a similar age. I'm currently 37, about to be 38 this year. And, you know, you start living around things that, you know, bring you back to, reminds you of your own mortality, you know. This is very unfortunate because I've been surrounded lately by, and I haven't shared this with anybody, but you know, health issues with a member of my family. I don't want to disclose. But also in my band, we lost a major contributor and supporter of what we were doing in 2019. We even wrote a song for him and everything on our second record. So it's just been these deaths, you know, that really hit you hard, because one thing that I always have is that you get attached to things, even if like they're far away, you know, or you get used to things as well and you take them for granted. We all do that. That's, you know, part of the human condition, is that we get used to things and we don't appreciate them until they're gone, kind of thing, right? You know, it happens to everybody. But it's crazy because with Brandon, we were talking last year, you know, it was so many like things that we talked about, like looking forward to, you know, possible other projects and everything, and you know, and it's just weird to meet somebody and everything, and all of a sudden, like, they're literally not there anymore. And even though most of the time they're far away, you feel like, that's the thing about modern day life, that how, you know, virtual world, the virtual space, virtual friendships and all that stuff are more commonly accepted now. Whereas back then, you know, especially during like the mid 2000s, early like 2010s, you know, it was kind of frowned upon, especially like on TV shows like Family Guy. They'll make fun of it constantly. But now it's like the norm, you know, and so everybody has friends everywhere. I have friends like all over the world now, and you can literally consider them friends because even just online, they back you up, you know, or they call you out, you know. You never want to have friends that just back you up all the time. Sometimes they got to call you out too, you know. And I hope nothing but the best for Misty Rayburn, who was, you know, is probably dealing with this situation, you know, firsthand, having to go through that, you know, it breaks you. That's stuff that you know, I've seen it, how things like that break people, and you just don't know if you can go on. But, you know, eventually people are able to kind of, you know, I don't think people ever get over things. We just learn how to hide it. We learn how to cope with it, you know. It's a constant adjustment of dealing with these type of situations. And, you know, we just have to move on, not necessarily, but just learn to live with the scars, right? That's, you know, sounds so dramatic, but look, that's what it is. I hope this is not taken as, again, me not trying to get views or none of that, because let's be real, this channel really doesn't get that many views. Like, I play fighting games. And basically, I think maybe just a few people who are into fighting games at a high level competitively maybe click and just move on to the next thing, or whatever. But when it comes to accessibility, like I've noticed that people do enjoy watching those, you know, and all of that stuff. So that's cool. But again, going back to, the main topic at hand, is just that it is very unfortunate. It's a huge loss because Brandon is one of the original ones, one of the first ones to actually go out there, literally get made fun of or denied. How the hell you make a game accessible for the blind, right? Like, how would you do that? That's impossible. Video games are, you have to see to play them. Well, it's clearly we've shown over, even before accessibility was a thing, that you don't, you make adjustments, you get creative, and you make your games accessible, and it doesn't hurt anything. It doesn't hurt the gaming experience. It enhances it, for a lot of people. So this right here is a major loss for everybody, whether you even like them or not. The guy actually left a legacy behind, literally. You can't take that away from him. Again, because unfortunately, when you're in this industry, not everybody's going to like you, but regardless, he was somebody who pushed the boundaries of the gaming industry, along with others along the way. But he was very vocal about things, right? Always calling things out or whatever. And high-ranking members of the community knew him and stuff like that. So that's a huge loss. Like, especially, and I don't know how this worked, honestly, because I don't know if they I always had a feeling that he was one of the reasons I was able to get a consulting job with NetherRealm Studios. Like, maybe not directly, but I don't know if he had something to do with that or not. Because, guys, to this day, we don't know. I don't know how that happened. But, once I saw his name, on that we were going to work together, I was like, oh, okay, that's cool, right? Because he obviously has the experience. Like, when you do this for more years than anyone else, you're obviously gonna have more experience. Like, for some of us, all we did is just play fighting games, like, and didn't think outside the box, like, how do you make things accessible and things like that, but so it's a major loss. Sorry if this video's taking for a long time, but there's this feeling, I don't know how to describe, and probably somebody can point it out, but it's like this huge knot in your chest, right? That kind of, for me, it feels like it's just moving left and right, and it's kind of hard to breathe. It can be anxiety. It can be just maybe not knowing how to pinpoint that feeling and stuff. So it's bad. This is a sad day for the accessibility, especially considering the fact that it took years, like more than a decade, to get to where we are now, right? And how can we just move on as if nothing happened when we lost somebody who was a huge part of where we are now? How does that work? Like, I'm gonna keep it real with you. Doing streams, doing all this stuff online doesn't mean anything until you go out there in the real world. If you go to conventions, you spend money that you're never gonna get back. You travel, you meet with people, you talk to people, even if they reject you, even if they look at you weird because you have a disability, because that happens. Let's be real. That happens, I guarantee you, Brandon had to go through all of that. I mean, he talked about it when he was basically, when he went with The Last of Us, when he went to a gaming convention, raised his hand and was like, hey, how can you make this game accessible, And at first the devs were like, basically, I don't think we can make that accessible, But then it's like, hey, let's discuss it, So you have to go through a lot to get to where you are, People only see the work, the end result, but they never see the hard work that goes behind the scenes. And it's brutal, You get rejected, nobody answers your emails and everything. So, because people have asked, like, how do you become a consultant? It's like, well, you doing streams, you doing all this stuff doesn't mean anything until you go out there in offline, gaming conventions. You talk to people, you just make your presence known, and that's how you do it, Online can only do so much. Online, you can be anybody. You can be an expert at anything, but once you're confronted with the actual thing, how good are you actually, So offline, meeting people, networking, some things that I wish I would have known back then. Maybe we could have had a much better friendship with Brandon, because I will admit again, we used to hang out in parties and play Mortal Kombat with Ross and those guys. But again, I would just play and move on kind of thing. I wasn't, following up and, just being friends, right? Hey, what's up? Here's my number. Let's connect. Let's hang out, or let's play other fun games, or let's, whatever. I was terrible at that back then. And, so anyway, I just wanted to, put this out there, I guess. And I don't think everybody will watch to the end, but in case you do, thank you. I'm not even gonna bother promoting my stuff. I'm gonna put his YouTube channel on the description. And if you're new to this whole accessibility thing, I suggest you follow his history. Look at his channel, see everything that he's done. Up to this point, his last game, one of his major last games was, Forza and Mortal Kombat 1, so fun fact, he contributed a lot more to invasions mode than I did, because, it's a little more like just out of my realm of where I do mostly fighting games. So I was mostly focused on the one-on-one combat, the sound cues and all that stuff. But he was more about like, how can I make this, game where you kind of have to see where you're going. We have sound cues and, read the menus, like what kind of information you need in the menus, all that kind of stuff, right? So, I mean, yeah, he played a huge part in that, and everything. So check him out, Brandon. Rest in peace, brother. I hope whatever disease you were, whatever you were fighting with. I mean, we know what it was, but out of respect, I don't want to, people can look that up. I hope you're in a better life, whatever that is. And thank you for your contributions to the gaming industry. Thank you for encouraging to follow this path of accessibility, because I wasn't gonna do it, several times privately or publicly I might have said, I don't want to do that, but you were one of the people who said you should do it, and I thank you for that. Rest in peace, and we hope we meet again.